You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Hello, and welcome to episode 102 of the Soul Forge podcast.
Welcome to the Soul Forge, a place of silent mystery, quiet contemplation, and outright mayhem. Join your host, Sean Vanderloo, as he guides you through the adventures of living. Together, we'll talk about life and love, sex and dating, joy and heartache, memories and loss, and so much more. Don't worry, it's not nearly as pretentious as it sounds. Get ready for life, the universe, and everything on the Soul Forge.
Hey everybody, I'm here with a special guest. We have Lisa Wilson. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
I'm glad to have you here. So we actually just met a half an hour ago.
Yes.
For real life.
Yeah.
We've been emailing back and forth all week.
Yes.
And our good friend Deidre hooked us up.
Yes.
Yes.
Deidre's a wonderful lady.
She is awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, and our listeners have heard her 3 or 4 times on the episodes before. So Deidre asked me, Sean, would you like to have a bunch of different people on your show? And I said, of course I would. And
that sounds like her.
yes, yes, she gets things done.
Yes, she does. Mm-hmm. And she brings people together.
She does.
Yeah.
Yes. So what she did was she created a kind of like a survey form or something and sent it out to, I guess, all her friends.
Yes.
And just Gmail it to you is what happened, I guess?
Through Facebook, actually.
Oh, okay.
She didn't say anything. She just said, here.
Oh, is that how it works?
She just sent me a link, and I was like, all right, I'm in.
Okay. Well,
Came from Deidre. You got to trust.
that's right, you do.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and then it was the spreadsheet that came to me, and I'm like, I don't know how this works. And so it took me a few days to figure it out. And then I found everybody's email addresses
awesome.
and contacted you. And now here you are.
Yes.
And you are a woman of many hats.
Yes. Yes, I am.
You're the communication guru.
Yes.
You're the happiness ninja.
Yes.
And what else did they call you?
Transformation champion.
That sounds impressive. All of that stuff.
Yes.
What does it mean?
Really, I'm a life or corporate coach.
Okay.
But that term is boring. So I found something that was a little more exciting.
Happiness ninja does sound way more fun.
Yes, it is way more fun.
Good.
And at the end of the day, they generally follow in order. So the communication guru, if you learn how to communicate, you'll be able to transform your life in ways that you can't even imagine, and you'll be happy. So that's where the happiness ninja comes from.
And I think happiness is the goal for everybody.
Yes. Yeah.
And you can't have happiness without sadness.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
But it's better to focus on the good stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's kind of what I focus on and how to see things slightly differently when I'm coaching.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you do coaching full time?
Yes.
Like that's your job?
That's my job.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how did you get into that? Because you started in HR, you said?
Yeah. Yeah. So I was in human resources for a lot of years. And actually, I was in a really bad point in my life. And I met a woman who was a coach.
Oh, okay.
I happened to go to a human resources conference. And I met a woman who was a coach. And it was like sitting, when you have those moments where, those television moments where like the angels start singing, whoa.
Yes.
Yeah. It was exactly like that. I was sitting with this woman and the woman who worked for her and one of the women who worked for her who was talking about her as a manager. And just had this glowing stuff, and I thought, where I was working at the time, I did not have that. I had a horrible manager at the time, and I was in a rough relationship, so everything in life was kind of heavy on me, and it really was one of those moments. And so I talked to her, and I said, I'd like to take coach training, and she said, you know what, don't do that, because you already have a really good career. Just come and take what they call coach approach.
Oh.
So it was just would leave me in my career, but teach me how to be a different HR manager.
Okay. Okay. So like a different approach, a different way of seeing things.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's really, so coach training is really not training per se. You go in and you go on your own journey.
How does that work?
Yeah. So they ask you a lot of questions.
Okay.
Yeah. And they have you start looking at your own life and how you're affecting your own life.
And I think we all need to do that.
Yes. Yeah. A lot of self-reflection. It was exhausting.
It's because it's not easy.
No.
It's hard to take a good long look at yourself.
Yes.
And say, oh, this is what's wrong with me, and this is how I need to work on it.
Yes.
And so we watch TV and play video games.
To avoid it.
And
Yes.
go for a nice drink at the bar, or do whatever we do to avoid.
Yes. absolutely.
I was just talking to my brother about that.
Yeah.
He's in the process of trying to take a long, hard look at his life, and he's like, a lot of times I just listen to music so I don't have to think my own thoughts.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of stuff going on in our heads.
Oh yeah, so much.
Yeah. Sometimes
Too
you
many
just
things.
don't want to hear it anymore.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so once I did that, I just absolutely fell in love with the whole concept. I stayed in HR for some years after that, and about, I guess it's 5 years ago now, I was given the gift of being laid off from my job.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a gift.
Here you go.
Yeah, and so this is why I say sometimes you can see things differently, because I've been laid off in 2 jobs. I now sometimes work for someone who does what they call, I can't think of the name of it right now, but someone who goes in. So when someone's laid off, I'll go and I'll help them on that day. I have nothing to do with the company, so if the person's having a rough time with it and they yell at me, no big deal. They haven't burnt any bridges, right?
Okay.
So I go in and I sit and I talk with them, and then I help them transition. That's what they call it, transition services.
You help them leave their job.
Yeah. And
Okay.
so it's hard for me sometimes, because both times I was laid off, it was a gift. The first time I'd already found another job, but it had a long recruitment process.
Okay.
I had to fill in a lot of forms, and it was like a month before I could work there.
Oh wow.
So I got laid off, and they gave me a severance package. So I had the severance package and a new job in a month.
That's sweet.
Yeah, it was great.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, and then the last one, I knew when I left there, always I was going to run my business. So same deal. I had a bit of a severance, and so I had a few months of cash to kind of help me
Get you
through.
going. Okay.
Yeah, and so both times I wanted to hug the person, which is not how most people feel.
Right, because
Yeah.
if you hadn't have been laid off, you wouldn't have started your business.
Yeah.
Because you would have just stayed in your comfortable position.
Yeah, well, I had been doing the business on the side anyway,
Right.
but I never would have pushed it beyond that.
Not full time.
It would have. It was one of those things that I knew I'd leave eventually, but if no one had pushed me, I would have stayed with the comfortable salary. And
You needed a good kick in the butt.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And-
So it was absolutely. So I say it's a gift, and not a lot of people will tell you that until years later when they see what they were. How much better off they are now than when they were at that old job. You don't see that, but I saw it like the moment I was like, yes.
Now I don't have to make the decision, and I can do the thing.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely.
I
yeah.
totally get that.
Yeah.
That happens often.
Yeah.
And lots of people don't see it that way.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, and so I can walk people through that. Now, regardless, just because in case one of your listeners is listening and lost their job, and it is a gift the same way, you will still go through all of the stages of grief.
You will.
Yeah, regardless. Yeah, you need to, it's exactly like a death has happened, and you need to let that move through you.
Whether it's your decision or not.
Yes.
Or you wanted it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense because it is an ending.
Yeah, it's an ending, and you have to grieve it, regardless of whether you think you won't. And the first time, I didn't think that would happen, and I knew someone who worked in the transition service, so that's who I contract with now. And she called me, and she called one day, and I was like, no, I'm good, I'm really happy about this. And she's like, yeah, no, you're not going to be. And I was like, no, really, I'm fine, I'm good. And she called 2 days later, and I was angry about something.
Oh, no.
And I was angry, and she goes, there it is, told you it would come.
She knew.
Yeah, she knew. Yeah,
And so transition services.
yeah.
I've never heard of this before.
Yeah, there's a lot of companies that do it. I work with Lee Hecht Harrison Knightsbridge, and generally it's the company. So if it's a larger company, they'll pay Knightsbridge to come in, and then we'll come in for the day.
Okay.
Yeah,
And so the person knows that they're leaving.
yeah.
They
Well,
know-
no, they don't know that they're leaving. Generally, it's
Oh.
like a walked out situation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So on that day that they're scheduled to get walked out, there you are.
Yeah.
And do you walk them out and let them know? Or
I don't let them know, but I walk them out.
Okay.
And yeah, so people think this is also a horrible thing. And one of the women said this to me as I was walking her out. She's like, I don't like that I'm being treated like a criminal. I said, oh, we're not treating you like a criminal. And she said, what? And I said, this is a horrible experience. I'm judging whether I can let you drive home.
Oh.
And she said, oh. I said, so while I'm in the room, you may seem okay, but in your walk to the door, if it finally hits you and you pass out, or you start to act in a way that I don't think you're safe driving home, I will walk you back there and I will call you a cab. And she went, oh. So it's not necessarily as bad as what people think. They think they're being treated like a criminal.
Right.
The reality is we're making sure you're safe.
So how does it work? They're scheduled to be let go that day.
Yeah.
They just go into work like normal.
Yep.
And you're there right away? Or do they
Every
work
company's different.
Okay, so
Yeah.
some
They
people might
control
work
that.
a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
they
then-
control it. It's usually done fairly quickly in the morning. 'Cause,
Okay, right.
yeah, no one wants to make someone work a whole day.
Well, no.
No, like the people on the other side of doing that aren't monsters. Something has happened and they don't have control of it either, right?
Okay.
So it's often layoffs. So the company's not making enough money, and some people have to go to kind of save the rest of the people.
I gotcha.
So it's not evil. It's awful for them too. It doesn't feel good. I know.
I'll
I have
bet.
been on both sides.
Right, you have.
I was the manager doing that with somebody else working the transition service.
Yeah.
I have done that in the past, but and I've been the person who was let go, and so I knew what they were doing, right?
Okay, so let's pretend I'm being let go.
Sure.
And I'm at work. What happens? I'm just in my cubicle doing my thing, and then a boss shows up, or you show up?
Like I said, every company is different. Generally, no, the boss. You're invited to a meeting with the boss.
Okay.
They tell you what's happening, and then I come in and I talk to you about what the transition service is.
Okay.
There is no expectation that you remember what I said.
Okay.
Because as soon as someone says terminated, everybody's brain just goes dead.
Okay.
Like they just go dead. And so I explain that right in there. If you catch 50% of what I've just said, all the power to you, because you're further ahead than most people. All I want you to remember is that I'm here. Please call me after.
And do they?
Yeah, usually. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long do you spend with these people? Like half an hour, maybe a couple hours?
No.
or-
It's
very short?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Very short. There's some people, one gentleman that I had to do this with. I don't do it a ton. This is not the basis of my work. It's just, it was some side work while I built up my business.
Okay.
So it's not the basis of my work, but one gentleman, he just kept talking. And he had some mental health stuff, and he shared that. And so I let him talk a little bit longer than I normally would.
Okay.
Because he said he had some stuff, but he had medication with him. And so he took his medication, and we sat together for a little bit longer.
Makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. But
Okay.
normally, no, it's like 15 minutes because you're not going to remember anything I say anyway.
No, because your brain shuts off.
Yeah.
Because what? I was fired? Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, because everything starts running through your head then, right?
How am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to
Yeah.
tell the wife or the husband or whoever? Or
Yeah, it's the same as any other shock.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's just a small part of what you do.
Oh yeah, that's just a little bit of contracting out that I do.
Doesn't sound pleasant.
You know what it is for me?
Oh.
I know it sounds weird, but because I've been there, it is pleasant for me because I know I can go and be there and help someone in that same situation.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's all in how you look at things, right? So there's that transformation
Because
champion.
you've got the experience from the other side.
Yes.
You can relate.
Yeah, I can totally relate.
Okay.
Yeah, I can totally relate. I know what it looks like. I know what it feels like. And so I go in and I say that, look, I'm doing this because I've been in your shoes. So I can go in, I can completely relate with them. And I often say right away, look, if you need to swear right now, please go ahead. Right. You're not going to burn any bridges with me.
Well, no.
You're just not.
You're an intermediary.
Even if something happens later and I'm interviewing for you for a job, it won't affect me.
Right.
Because this is not your shining moment and we all know it.
No, that's a hard spot to be in. So
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you need to swear at me, go ahead. So yeah, it doesn't seem like a pleasant thing, but for me, it's a reality of business. Businesses go up, businesses come down. They make money, they don't make money. So it flows.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, for sure. And that happens lots. So
Yeah.
okay, so that's one of the things you do.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're big into communication
Yes.
and life coaching. So do you life coach individuals or do you do it in a company setting or both?
I do both,
Okay.
actually. Yeah,
So
I do both. So company
like-
might hire me to come and work with one of their staff, and
Okay.
then the company will set the goals for that employee, and then I'll work towards those goals.
So somebody with a challenge at work not quite meeting expectations.
Yeah, or just someone that they want to move forward.
Ah, okay.
That they've seen as, hey, this person's got some skills, we want them to move forward, and they'll bring me in to help them with the sort of softer side of things.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
And so say it was just me and now I've met you and I need some life coaching because
Yes.
I'm all messed up.
Okay, good.
So I give you a call
Yeah.
and I say, Lisa, I need some help.
Awesome.
What would you do?
Well, I'd ask you specifically in what.
Okay.
So what are the things that we're talking about? And I won't make you do that on the
No,
air.
no.
I won't make you do that here. But I would ask you specifically what, because sometimes it's not something that I'm comfortable coaching someone in. And so I'd ask you what, because I do have a group of friends who are coaches, and if I think you might fit better with someone else, I'd pass you to them.
Okay.
But if it's something that I feel confident in dealing with, then absolutely we'd move forward. And I shared with you earlier that I'm a bit all over the place.
Yes.
Because I like to coach in a ton of different things, and I've had lots of different experiences, life and business-wise. So yeah, so I have a broad spectrum of who I coach.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
And before we started recording, you were talking about the importance of no and how the word no, it can be a complete sentence on its own.
Yes.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, absolutely. It's really a struggle for everyone. It's a hard struggle for everyone. It is for me as well. I sign up for a lot of things and I get myself, I am volunteer queen right now, and I never can just go in and volunteer and be the person who does everything. I have to be the leader.
Right. Okay.
You know,
need to
I
be in
end up
charge.
being the president.
Okay. You have control issues?
Possibly, yes. No, but I think it's just one of those things that I'm very organized and I get stuff done and I can get people working together. So I kind of naturally
lead.
I naturally lead. It's just somewhere I slip into. I've tried going into things and saying, I'll come, just tell me what to do, and I'll go, but then I get there and it's not organized, so I start organizing things. So possibly a little bit of control issues, yes.
So it's like automatic, though. You can't help yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'm learning, so it's a lesson for me to say no and leave it there.
Right.
Because that no, we always feel like it has to have just a ton of things behind it.
Because you have to explain yourself.
Yes.
Yes. No, because.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
No, because I have all of this going on, or no, because of that, and just no.
So you're making excuses when or instead of telling reasons.
Yeah.
Or you just no.
Yeah, just no.
And then there's no discussion.
Yeah.
Because that's your sentence.
Yeah, that's your sentence.
Hey, do you want to go and blah, blah? No.
No. Yeah.
No, I can't because I have this thing to... No, because then you're all wishy-washy sounding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because because sometimes the reality is no, because I want to sit on my couch and watch TV.
Well, that's right.
You know?
Yeah. You know what? I don't feel like it.
Yeah, and that's what's best for you right now. It's not an easy thing sometimes. I work on this with my boyfriend because I'm very open with things. So we were cleaning some stuff out today. So we've been doing a bunch of purging.
Springtime.
And it's that springtime purge. But he moved in 2 years ago, and we never got the house back to some kind of organization. So the basement has constantly had boxes, and it drives us both crazy.
Oh, I bet.
So now we're finally dealing with all of this. And I said to him, he said, okay, these 2 boxes you need to go through. And I was like, yeah, I can't do that today. And he was like, what? And I said, look, I'm just not in a good space. I'm tired now. And those are things from my childhood.
Oh.
All that's going to happen is it's going to remain in the box.
Yes.
I'm going to take it all out, get all nostalgic, and put it back in.
And then it's going to sit here in a pile on the floor.
Yeah, some of it needs to go. I agree, but I need to be in a better headspace to do that.
Definitely.
So there was, to some extent, some communication around why the no. But I shared, I think even before he asked, I said, you know what, I'm not going through those things. I will do these 2 boxes because they were just stuff that's just stuff. So I got rid of a bunch of it. But the other one was like, no, can't. I just know what's going to happen as soon as I open those boxes.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know yourself.
Yeah.
And especially if you're feeling overextended,
Yes.
sometimes no is just the only answer.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I think that's the main piece when I talk about communication. For me, it's 2 things. It's communicating with others, but also communicating with yourself.
Knowing what you need. Because we don't often know what we need.
Exactly.
We're just doing things in routine or automatically.
Yep.
Okay.
And the more you get to know yourself, and that's the piece that I work on, because I'm incredibly driven. I'm just always driving for the next goal and the next thing. And I've had to learn to slow down. I've had to learn to slow down and take care of myself. I actually had a medical thing happen, and we still haven't figured out the whole thing. They took out half my thyroid.
Ooh.
And I should have gotten back to normal energy levels and everything within the year. So anybody else I speak to, they were back to normal. Because I only had half, not the whole thing taken out, so it's not like I have to be on drugs or anything. It's taken me 4 years.
Oh.
Yeah.
And now you're finally back to where you were? Or
closer.
Is it hard to tell because you've aged as well in that time?
Yeah, so I don't fall under I don't believe that you actually get more tired with age. I don't believe that.
Okay.
That's a whole other topic. But no, I actually am starting to feel back to normal because I had brain fog, and when I got tired, it was hard to explain to people. I didn't need a nap. I needed to just lay down.
And do nothing.
Do nothing. And so I often watch TV or whatever, but when I was down, I was down.
Yeah.
You know, there was no, you can't ask me to come and help cook dinner. There's no pushing me back up.
You just need to be plugged in and recharged.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was weird because I had something opposite going on in my body. Normally when you work out, you get endorphins and you feel better.
Yes.
I did not have that. I would feel okay. I could get through a workout, and then the following day I couldn't move.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we still haven't figured it out, but I've changed my diet quite a bit, and I'm feeling a lot better now. My brain is far less foggy.
Good.
Yeah. So I've come out of all that. But the lesson in all of that was to teach me when I need to slow down.
Oh, okay.
So again, things that don't sound like a gift are a gift, right?
Yep.
Because my whole life I've done this driven thing.
Go, 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 go.
Yeah, but when I was younger, I could recharge faster.
Of course.
And now I can't recharge as fast.
Because of the thyroid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're getting back to where you were, but now you know,
Yes.
because of this experience,
Yes.
when to slow down.
Yeah, when to just stop. And so that's why it's easy now for me to say to my boyfriend, you know what, I'm done today. I'm going to watch TV now. It's over. It's over. I'm really tired, and I'm just going to get annoyed with you now. And I'm going to be grumpy and rude, so I'm going to go watch TV.
Because you know yourself.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yes.
But when we don't know that and we don't recognize it, we are grumpy and mean, and we say, yeah, I'll show up and I'll help you out, and then we get all resentful, but we're the ones that said we would do it.
Even though we knew we shouldn't have,
Yes.
but we ignored it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so that's the main piece I work on with people. Because when you're coaching, I can't fix anybody else. I can't help anyone else. I can't change anything in anyone else. The only person that I can change is the person in front of me. And even with that, I don't change that. I just have conversations to help you see things in a different way.
Right. So
Yeah.
you make the person think
Yes.
in a different way.
Yeah.
Like, take a look at it from this angle.
Yes. Yeah. And sometimes we get into things that, why we think that. I can't share the story behind it, but I can share that something happened with my stepdaughter this past week. And I realized that I have a bias between boys and girls. I have an expectation of boys and girls. And I caught it. She told me something, and I'm glad she was open enough to tell me. But she explained it, and I went, oh, I totally would have expected that from your brother, but I didn't think about it for you because I have a bias.
Of course, and we all do.
Yeah, and I was glad that she brought it forward and told me, and then I could catch my own bias. But if I wasn't aware...
You're self-aware enough to know that you have the bias.
Yeah.
And that comes from your communication work.
Yes.
Because you get more self-aware and you can see things from different angles.
Exactly.
And look at all the perspectives.
Yes.
Okay.
And so I always say never trust a coach without a coach. So I always have at least one or two coaches that I work with as well. Yeah. Because we're all working on things.
Because we're all in progress.
Yes.
So even though you're a life coach, you still need work as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm constantly thinking about, I've gotten better at it over the years, but I'm constantly thinking about, wait, is that the action I want that's going to get me to where I want to be? So if my goal is this action actually taking me there? Or is it taking me further away?
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. So because it's communication, I want harmony in my home. So is me yelling at my stepkids right now helping that?
Probably not.
No.
I can't see how
not
it
at
would.
all. Yeah, no. And so you start to then catch it. Okay, what do I need to do so that I don't get there going forward? You know, how do I get myself in a better place so that I'm calmer with them, so that they are comfortable with me?
And so everything you've learned and everything you teach helps you become a better person as well.
Yes, yeah. And sometimes people come to me with things, and it's very weird how we can't make connections. Yeah.
That's an issue I have of my own. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I was talking to this gentleman, and his father had left when he was very young. And he said, you know, I get it. He was only 16. I would have left too. But he also felt abandoned. And I said, wait, how come you haven't made that connection yet? And he said, what? And I said, if you know at 16 you would have left too, how do you not know that it had nothing to do with you? And for him, the world changed.
I bet it did.
Yeah. And it just takes somebody standing on the outside to go, okay, nobody leaves a baby.
Right.
You didn't have a personality.
No, that's
you
right.
know?
But
And
we're all stuck in our own heads.
Yes.
And we can't see it on the outside.
Yeah.
And then somebody holds a mirror up to you and say, hey, look at it this way. And,
Yeah. Oh, that's like, it just was, that you could see the aha, right? And then, and then we were done coaching very shortly after that because it changed absolutely everything for him.
everything fell into place like a puzzle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can see how
Something
that would work.
so simple. And actually, we started as more of a corporate coaching thing. So I can't say I'm just a corporate coach. I like to say that I am, but I do prefer to work with business people just because it's my experience, right? Being in HR. But it's always life coaching.
And you will. You will do a
It
one-on-one
always ends up
personal.
life coaching.
Right, of course.
It always ends up life, no matter what, it ends up life coaching.
Okay.
So yeah, this had nothing, like he didn't come to me to talk about
His dad.
No.
Right.
It just showed up in one of the conversations.
And it transformed and it became that.
Yeah.
And everything was okay and then he was done being coached.
Yeah. And the amazing thing to me always is that quick switch. As soon as we see it, it's like,
It's immediate.
yeah. Oh, now I get it. Okay.
And you could be going on for years and years not seeing it.
Yeah.
And somebody says something, you make the connection and then everything's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I've experienced that myself.
Yeah. It's it is amazing. And then you do still have to work at it for a little bit to change
Oh yeah.
change that synapse in your brain or
Of
whatever
course.
to make the new connection. So
Yeah.
you do have to think about it for the next little while.
For sure.
Like it's quick. It's quick when we do it.
Yeah, and then it all falls.
Yeah.
So should we transition over to what this happiness ninja stuff is all about?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, before we get there, what we'll do is we'll just play a podcast promo for another podcast here on the ESO Network.
Sure.
What is the Geekly Oddcast? It's a panel show of television.
I mean, seriously, where else was I supposed to go and watch Gomez Adams ride a rocket ship on a railroad track?
Gaming.
And the dice say 17.
Oh my god, 17 is Mystic Quest. And whatever comes to mind.
Why does Zod need a starship?
Alternating Thursdays on the Geekly Oddcast.
And that was a great promo for another podcast here. And so we're talking about happiness and how you are a ninja.
Yes. Well, I'll tell the story. I did share it with you earlier, but I'll tell the story where it came from. It was one of those emails that came in when I was working in HR. And it was an email that said, change your title because human resources title just was boring. So we wanted a new title and you could select them. And so I selected Happiness Ninja. And then the other managers on my team all selected something different. And so we kind of teased each other about it. And then when I started coaching, again, corporate coach is boring. Yeah.
So you're going to a corporate coach?
Yeah.
No, I'm going to the Happiness Ninja.
Exactly. And so it really did fit because for me, like I said, those things follow in order, right? The better you learn to communicate with yourself and others, the easier it is to transform your life to end up in that place where you're happy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Now that doesn't mean life is perfect, just to be clear.
What?
Yeah, no.
Oh, man. 'Cause I was hoping for some perfection soon.
Yeah. No,
Oh,
it never
crap.
will be. But the reality is when you start to see things in a different way, you can see it differently. So the incident I shared earlier about with my stepdaughter, if I was in the place where I used to be, which was more of a punishing place, so when I screwed up like that, I would punish myself.
Yeah.
I'm not there anymore.
Good.
I'm at the point now where I go, ooh, that's not what I want going forward. I'm going to have to think about that.
So better thinking equals better results.
Yes. And without that punishment on yourself, you end up in that more happy place, right?
Of course.
It's that acceptance. I have a balanced view of this, but it's that acceptance that we're all still growing, always.
And it never stops.
And my balanced view on this is that's exhausting. I just want to be done at some point, but we never will be. And so you just keep learning.
Our spiritual progress is exhausting.
Yes, yeah.
I call it spiritual progress, but I don't,
It's everything.
I don't know what else to call it. Just
Yeah.
emotional, mental, physical, all the stuff.
Yeah, and it's all the stuff, and I work on a lot of that. So the basis of how I was trained in coaching was we live in a world that told us that do and have, so do what you need to do, so do plus have equals be happy.
Right.
So do, go to school, get your job, get your money, have, buy your house, buy your car, everything else, and then you'll be happy. And in coaching, we flip that around. I don't know if you've heard this before, but you're smiling like you have.
Yeah, because it's always, we're chasing happiness. The next thing will make us happy.
Yeah.
And, I finally got my dream car.
Yeah.
And you're happy.
For a minute.
But 2, 3, 4 weeks later, it's just your car. You've got a ding from the shopping cart or
Yep.
whatever. And now it's just your car and you're not happy anymore. You need to get the next thing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's...
So that's our training in life. And what coaching does, and how I was trained in coaching and how I view coaching, is that we take that. And so if you think of it as like a math equation, so do plus have equals be, you switch it around and be plus
happy.
do equals have. So if you are and you act in the way that you want to be, you will have everything that you need.
Right.
Or sorry, then you do whatever it is that you're meant to do in life, then you'll have everything that you need.
I just read an article maybe 3 or 4 days ago that said happiness isn't the goal.
No.
Doing things and being useful to the world makes you happy.
Yes.
Because you feel like you're contributing.
Yeah.
And that gives you like purpose and fulfillment.
Yes. Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
And I'd never thought of it that way until I read this article.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. And I love that they put it in a math equation.
No, that's terrific.
You know,
Yeah.
and sometimes when I do the video, I have the little things across.
Oh, for
but,
sure.
Yeah, but it really is, and that's what it is we're working on your B. And I have a coach that I worked with that was trained by the same coach that I was, and she says that all the time. We're working on your B. We're working on your B.
Yeah, and that's the way I've been trying to reframe everything lately.
Yeah.
It's part of the purpose of the podcast.
Yeah.
And as you've looked around, you see all the things that I have.
Yes.
Because, oh, you know what? This action figure will make me happy. This statue, that'll make me happy. This car that I finally... No, that's what I need to be happy.
Yeah.
And then, no.
No.
It's okay, now I've got this stuff and I got to find a place for it. And
Yeah, and happiness really is inside yourself. It really is, and it really is in how you see things. And that I laughed at the beginning when you said a little bit of control issues, because I do have control issues, because I have always been able to drive forward at things and control how things were. And when I worked for sort of corporations, I knew where they wanted me to go, and so I, did that.
Yeah.
When you're working for yourself, it's not as clear. And so you don't control as many things. You toss stuff out there and see what lands, right?
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more, and the more I step back and stop taking control in those cases, the easier things flow to me.
okay.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah. The more I stop thinking about, ooh, will this post offend anyone? Or will this do this? Or, the less I do any of that, the more I'm like, this is what happened today.
Just do the thing and be yourself, and
Yeah.
don't worry about what other people think.
Yeah, exactly.
And you find that works, and
Yes,
it takes the pressure off yourself. And
totally.
you can just be you.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And you get more and more comfortable with just being you.
That's important.
It is.
And that's hard.
And it's enough, though. And that's the other thing, is that we don't think it's enough sometimes. I can be me, but I need to be more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I need to be more. I need to do more for people. I need to, yeah.
Well, that's my problem. I do everything for people and put my own needs aside. And I need to
Yes.
stop doing that. And like you said at the beginning, I need to learn to say no.
No. And just have it be a full sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That,
No.
That's my challenge for the next little while, I think.
Or set a really strong boundary. Yes, I can help for this many hours.
Yep.
It was something I used to be in another service organization. I'm down to 2 now. I was in 3 before. It was partially because I was working at home and I needed to get out more. I need people around.
Right,
It's just
yeah.
part of who I am. And so I thought, well, I'll get out to these service clubs, and then I'm forced to go out at least 3 times a week.
Right.
So I was doing all of that, and then it got overwhelming.
Too much.
But one of the places, they would call me and say, can you come and help with this? And I'd be like, sure, what do you want me to do? They were like, I don't know, just come and I'll find you something. And I'd say, no. And they said, why? I said, you call me, you give me a task, I will come there, I will get it done.
Yes.
If there's another task before I leave, you can ask me, but don't call me and say, we'll give you some task and we don't know how long it will be. I want to know that I'm coming between this time and this time because I have other things to do today.
Yes.
So it can be a yes with boundaries.
Okay, that works too.
Yeah.
Yeah, not just, hey, come here and do some stuff for an unspecified amount of time.
Yes.
Come here for 2 hours and help us organize these files.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Specific.
Yes,
Right.
very specific. Or, yes, I'll help out. I just agreed to help a friend, another HR manager. I just agreed to help her with something, but she called me twice because they're struggling where she is. And she called the first time and she said, would you be willing to help me with this? And I said, absolutely not. I'm terrible at it and you're going to have to review all my work anyway.
Okay.
And she said, okay. And I said, so it's not worth paying me, really? I said, look, if you're really stuck, call me back and I'll do it for you. But just know you're going to have to review it.
Yeah.
I said, because I don't worry about, I always do this wrong, but don't worry about dotting the I's and crossing the T's. I don't worry about that. I make sure that the function is there. Somebody else has to look at that stuff.
Okay.
That's the way I work. And she said, okay. And she left it and she called me back probably 2 weeks later and said, what about this? Would you come and help with this? I said, absolutely, I'll come and do that for you. So we figured something out. But that no, the more I say no, the more things that come to me that I want.
More specific stuff.
Yeah.
That suits you better.
Yes.
And it makes you happy.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's all about the happiness.
Yes.
And being specific.
Yeah.
And being useful.
Yes.
Okay.
And in useful in the way I want to be useful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
And using my strengths as opposed to going in and being frustrated with.
Not knowing what you're doing, and like, I'll be here to be a helper or lend a hand,
Yeah.
but it's not my thing.
Exactly.
That doesn't make you feel good.
No.
No. But I can do this.
Yeah.
I can fix you with this. I can paint that wall, or I can
Yep.
organize this file, or I can do the other thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever your strength is.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Doing the things that you want to do and the things that you don't, just say no.
Yeah. I think I need to.
Not all of them. You still have to cook dinner and you
Of
still have to do
course.
the dishes.
Yes.
But,
Yeah.
you know, the basic life stuff you
Well,
got to do.
that
but
never
yeah.
ends.
Yeah, exactly. So there's some things you have to do that you don't want to, but the more that you say no to the things you're not interested in,
The more things you can say yes to that make you happy.
yes. And what I have found is the more of that just shows up in my life then. So the more I say no to the things over here, the more space there is for something else to come.
Because the universe brings you the opportunities.
Yes.
Right. When you, how's that thing go? When you say no to the things you don't want, life says yes to the things you do want.
Yes.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's
Yeah.
the exact quote, but it's something like that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
and I've been learning that more and more, because when you first start in business, there's some concerns.
Yep.
Oh my Lord, I need to pay my bills.
Well, yeah.
Right.
So you
I still got to pay the mortgage.
You kind of just do everything you need to. pay the
Yeah,
bills.
and what I've learned through the last 4 years is the more I say no to the things that I'm not interested in, the more the other stuff comes.
Okay.
Yeah, and the more opportunities, and yeah.
And it's almost without fail.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
We just have to open ourselves to that.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And even this came in a time of exactly those things. Is, hey, look, hey, here's a podcast.
Yeah.
Hey, that's cool. Yeah.
Have you ever been on a podcast before?
One other, yes.
Oh, okay. So,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you knew about a podcast and what it was before?
Yes.
Because still, a lot of people don't know.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
I know, because I was doing Rusted Robot there for the last 5.5 years, and people still don't know I do a podcast.
Well, I didn't know there was one in Timmins. Because
Yeah.
I kept thinking that. I'm like, somebody should be doing a podcast in Timmins. And there you were.
I do 2 of them.
Yeah.
And I think there's a couple other guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine there's something. It's probably just not in the technically coaching realm, so I haven't found them. But
Right.
yeah.
And Soulforge here is kind of
getting there.
about being a better person, taking a hard look at ourselves and doing the real work. And
Yeah.
then sometimes it's just about fun things.
Yeah, that's
It's
awesome.
Anything.
Yeah.
Any topic goes. So
Which is coaching.
yeah, I guess it is, right?
It is, yeah. We talk about a lot of things.
I bet.
I'm always surprised at what people come out with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure that
Well,
could-
like I said, the gentleman that came in for more corporate stuff, we ended up talking about his dad.
Right.
So
So it goes everywhere.
it goes absolutely anywhere, which is really good for my brain.
I bet it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's never boring.
And are you always busy with doing the coaching?
It's like any other business, it's up and down.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be really busy for a while, and then it'll quiet down, and I'll be really busy for a while, and it'll quiet down.
But you haven't had to get a job at Tim Hortons to help? Or
No, not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, not yet.
Well, that's good. That's
Yeah.
good. Okay. Is there anything else we should discuss?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think we covered the
Basics.
main things. Yeah.
Okay, so we got a good handle on what you're all about.
Yeah.
If somebody wanted to take part of your services,
Yes.
how would they reach you?
So they can, I should probably do it all in the same one, but LMW is, because my name is Lisa May Wilson, so LMW, and coaching.ca is my website.
Okay.
And everything else is under consultation, because I couldn't get consulting as a webpage.
okay.
So the Facebook, LMW Consultation, Instagram, LMW Consultation, and
Twitter?
Twitter,
You're on
yes.
Twitter? Okay.
Yeah, Twitter, LMW Consultation, and LinkedIn, just myself, Lisa May Wilson.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. MAY?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. I thank you for being here.
Thank you very much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
I'm glad you could make it. Make sure you tell all your friends about it.
I will, for sure.
That's awesome. And so just to wrap up the podcast, as I often do, I thank the listeners for coming by and sharing the Soul Forge with all their friends. And until next time, remember, the single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has taken place. This has been another episode of the Soul Forge Podcast. Find us on Twitter at SoulForgePod or email the show via soulforgepodcast@gmail.com. Soul Forge is a production of Sean Vanderloo and Friends. You can find Sean on Twitter and Instagram at Darth Vaderloo. Remember to visit soulforgepodcast.com for all of our social media links and share the show with everyone you know. Thanks for stopping by the Forge. We'll keep the fires lit until your next visit.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping through Amazon.com or the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.